Sinner made a bang.
Purchase your tracks today.
Sinner made a bang.
Purchase your tracks today.
Property on the beat.
Property on the beat.
Bobby on the beat.
I'm not talking. Shalom, fam. Shalom. Lord willing, y'all doing well. This is Brother Emmanuel again. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Maybe there's not many people on, which is okay. I did say about 5 minutes, so I did start a few minutes earlier. Let me see. Am I talking? Okay, so I'm listening to my phone right now just to see if I'm there. All right. I guess it's delayed on my end. Oh, no. Cool. Okay, you guys can hear me. All right, sounds good. All right. So, anyways, let me see. Hmm. All right, cool. Okay, you guys can hear me. All right, sounds good. All right, so anyways, I wonder why that sounds like that. Okay. Anyhow, all right. So first of all praises to the Most High that you guys are here with me. I appreciate y'all. As you know, well, maybe some of you don't know, I follow the Sabbath that the Bible requires us to follow, which is the lunar Sabbath. And here's why. This is not the class, but I'm telling you why. This is my today is my Sabbath. It starts tonight. Okay, so for any of you guys that are wondering, I'm gonna do a class on that, but right now I have other ones in mind. So, but I'll get to it. Okay, I kid you guys not, and if it's something that needs to be said, then I guess I'll take care of it. But as long as look, I'm not here to convince y'all to believe whatever it is that I'm sharing with you guys. All right, you guys discern it yourselves, and it makes sense, and it makes sense. Okay, so, but as long as y'all are keeping the commandments as best as you can, if we have a disagreement on the Sabbath as of right now, well, hey, it is what it is, and at least I can be a voice for the scriptures for the meantime. But eventually, we're gonna have to come together at one point. Okay, so just giving y'all a heads up as to where I stand. Anyhow, the class is called Privilege and Oppression. So it kind of, I guess, I don't know how it is that I came out with the title. To be honest with you, I mean, obviously it must be the Most High. It doesn't come from me, but it had a lot to do with the book. I'll tell you that. So first and foremost, let me do this. I'm gonna do a little bit different today. Okay, I usually go to curses and things of that nature, but today I'm gonna kind of go with something a little more on more understanding here. Okay. So the reason I want to start this way is because in we've been taught we're being taught again. We've been taught initially that we lost our heritage and that we are Hebrews and all of that stuff. We all heard it. Okay. Well, the question is, at one point I was like, well, what kind of heritage are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, what exactly do you mean by heritage? What is it that we lose? Because for the most part, I think at least at my understanding at that time, I thought we were okay, other than being here. Back home, we were okay, so to speak. But as I started looking into it and I realized I see what traditions they're talking about. So here's one of them, okay? So let's start off with the traditions that we had in the past and how beautiful these traditions are. So what I'm really sharing with you, brothers and sisters, and forgive me if my microphone is acting funny. I'm not really sure why, but I'm gonna do my best to make sure that it doesn't sound that way. Okay. So anyhow, um, hold on. Let me turn this down here real quick. Let me turn this down real quick. Okay. So anyhow, I want to stress how important it is and how beautiful our heritage is. Not was is. Okay, because it's still our heritage. One thing is not practicing it, but it's still our heritage. First one. Okay. Look at this. This was our traditions, all right? Tobit 10:12. It says, and he said to his daughter, honor thy father and thy mother-in-law, which now are thy parents, that I may hear good report of thee. And he kissed her. Edna also said to Tobias. So you see, the father said this to his daughter, okay? So he said to his daughter, honor thy father and thy mother-in-law, which are now thy parents, that I may hear good report of thee. Okay? And then he kissed her. Then here comes the mom and says, Edna also said to Tobias, the soon to be husband, the Lord of heaven restored you, my dear brother, okay? And grant that I may see thy children of my daughter Sarah before I die, that I may rejoice before the Lord. Behold, I commit my daughter unto thee of special trust, where do not entreat her evil. What a beautiful tradition to have, that you literally sit there and you talk to your soon-to-be God or son-in-law and soon-to-be daughter-in-law, and you hand her over righteously and ceremonially, and not with, like, weddings with ruckus and rioting and drunkenness and fights every time. You know what I'm talking about. If you so-called Hispanics, you know what I'm talking about. Most weddings don't come up perfect. They're all if somebody's drunk, then all of a sudden there's a fight. It happened to almost every quinceañera and every wedding I went to. Maybe it's just in San Diego. I don't know, man. But at least that's that's how they roll over here. But anyhow, what a beautiful way. What a beautiful tradition that we've actually lost. Okay, because we don't do this anymore. All right, because our daughters are whoring out because we're not raising them right. Okay, so just putting it back on us, because we can blame and point fingers, but you men need to get your act right. You can't complain about the people you created. If you're a king, and if you're soon to be, if you want the also salvation and everlasting life and the kingdom soon to be, then you need to act like one. Point the finger at yourself. Let's get it together. Okay? Look at this right here. The father's the one that spoke to her first and said, daughter, listen, and because you know why? Because he raised her. A well-instructed woman is because it comes from a well-instructed man, a father, and then a soon-to-be husband. Okay? Now, that's one of them. Proper marriage. Here's another one. Tobit 7:13. Okay? It says, then he called his daughter Sarah, and she came to her father, and he took her by the hand, and gave her to be wife to Tobias, saying, behold, take her after the law of Moses, and lead her away to thy father. And he blessed them. How many times does your father-in-law or so-called father-in-law and mother-in-law hate your guts? Hate your guts. They don't even want you to be with their kid. What happened to this tradition? Then he called his daughter Sarah, and she came to her father. What a great relationship that is, to be honest. I have daughters, man, and I hope, and I'm raising them the best that I can, and I try to have a great relationship with my daughters. And I think so far with my oldest one, yes. The little one, but she's a year and a half, so you know what I mean. I'm working on her, but my daughter, 19, I think we have a good relationship, and it's getting better because I made my mistakes. But she has a very good spirit, very helpful to her mama. So I can't complain about her. I made the mistakes. And it says, and he took her by the hand and gave her to be wife to Tobias, saying, behold, take her after the law of Moses and lead her away to thy father. And he blessed them. So that's another tradition, like the women go to the husband and they go to the other family. Nowadays, it's not like that. Nowadays, we marry the woman and then we go into her family. What happened to this? Why did it change? So now the head of the household is not the head of the household because there's so much leaning on that woman's family, because it seems to happen more often than the woman coming to the father and his family, because it says here. You know what I'm saying? So here's another law. And another tradition. And Edna called called Edna his wife, and took paper and did write an instrument of covenant and sealed it. We don't have this option because we technically have to go to the other nations to do this. We technically do, right? So that's one of them. All right. Now let's continue. Now this one. Then they began to eat. So now we're talking about a feast, a party. After Regal called his wife Edna, he said to her, sister. You see how he said? He called his wife Edna and said unto her, sister, prepare another chamber and bring her in thither. You see, he called his wife sister. So I'm going to tell y'all something, brothers and sisters. When you start seeing each other like brethren, your relationship starts changing. When you start seeing your children like, okay, they're your kids, of course you're responsible, but they're also your little brothers and your little sisters. When y'all start seeing each other like that, you may just start seeing the Messiah in you and in them because they're not yours. In reality, they're not. We're an instrument of the Most High. That's all we are. I love the scripture, what it says. I mean, just like what, man, I mean, to me, that's just pretty amazing because I always remind my wife about this. And I don't like to talk about my stuff too much, but I'm sharing with y'all what I've experienced and how much growth I've gone into because I've gone through the rigorous pounding, man, and it wasn't fun. And I pray to God that y'all can actually walk through it, just like I am. I'm doing it too, and it's not easy. You know, some of y'all know my situation with my son. Some of you guys know my situation, me personally. So anyhow, what better way to have a relationship like that with your wife? First of all, prepare another chamber and bring her into thither. Nowadays, fathers don't want you to even date her. Well, first of all, you can't be dating, but let's just say, like my father, he hated my guts, man. He couldn't stand me. And I know a lot of people that they can't stand each other because of that. What happened? Verse 18. No, I'm sorry, 17. Which when she had done as he had bid her, she brought her thither, and she wept, and she received the tears of her daughter, and said unto her, Be of good comfort, my daughter. So she was nervous too, and she was sad because she knew that was it. That was the last day that she would be at her dad's house. You see, brothers and sisters, well, you, brother and sister, whoever's on, all praises. Quite frankly, hey, shalom, everybody, shalom. Let me read what you're saying. Here in Mexico, you still walk up like a man and ask the father and mother for the daughter's hand and blessings, and you also leave a pile of wood. Don't know what the wood is for, but that's how it goes. Hey, I think it's for warmness. I don't know, but you know what? That is something that is true. That tradition is still in Mexico in a lot of ways. But when we're talking about the society of what's going on now, we're losing it. Even the little bit that we have, we're losing it. I remember that because I'm 46 and I still remember my sisters and my brothers. They would like my sisters. They would have like guys going over to my dad's house and knock and can I speak to you about your daughter? And he'd have them sit in front of the house. You know what I mean? They didn't like hold hands. It was very traditional, and we've gone so far from it. But that tradition kept us together. That tradition, made us held us accountable because then you look up to them and say, you know what, I want to be like that, and you hold yourself accountable to those standards. So then, if we don't have this, which when she had done, I'm sorry, verse 18, be of good comfort, my daughter. The Lord of heaven and earth give thee joy for thy sorrows. Be of good comfort, my daughter. You see that? So the mom nor the husband were they concerned or jealous, like a lot of relationships and marriages and they start and then they never are ever good. I mean, let's put it this way, guys. Let's be sincere. How can you tell someone, "Oh yeah, daughter, I love you very much, but I hate your husband," when she loves her husband? So that means you hate what she loves. So then you don't really love her or love him. You see what I'm saying? It's just what happened to our traditions. You know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to start. That's what I have a few more, and then I'm gonna technically show you guys something else too. Can we go to Tobit 8? Watch. Tobit 8, and then verse 4, it says, and after that they were both shut in together, right? So then now after like they got married, okay, they did the ceremony, the certificate was written, the ceremony began, the father hands over the daughter to the soon-to-be wife, then they prepare a chamber so then they can technically, like, for lack of better words, seal the deal or like finalize the ceremony or fulfill the ceremony in the sense of like fulfilling the marriage, right? When you have sex, you're literally like already like married. You got the chamber, you got the paper, the ceremony, the agreement, and then you're married, and now you're officially going to, consecrate the marriage. Okay. So then it says, and after that they were both shut together, verse 4. Tobias rose out of the bed, okay, and said, Sister, arise. You see how he called her sister, okay? Let us pray that God would have pity on us. Then began Tobias to say, Blessed art thou, O God our Father, and blessed is thy holy and glorious name forever. Let the heavens bless thee and all thy creatures. Thou madest Adam and gave him Eve, his wife, for a helper and stay. Of them came mankind. So, sisters, y'all better understand that. Y'all are helpers. I'll do a class on that for sure. But I'm telling you right now, that's how I rose. Eve, matter of fact, the scriptures even say that the woman wasn't made for the man, whereas the man wasn't made for the woman. It's on the contrary, the woman was made for the man. Anyhow, let me continue. And it says colon right there, okay? So here's some list. Of them came mankind. Thou hast said, it is not good that man should be alone. Let us make unto him an aid like unto himself. And now, O Lord, take not this my sister for lust, but upright. Let me read it again. O Lord, I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. Therefore, mercifully ordain that we may become aged together. And she said with him, Amen. What happened to that tradition? That you both pray on the first day of marriage together, that you pray to become aged. Some of y'all are drunk. You don't even pray when you get married. And then to top it off, you know what I'm saying? You don't even really consider your marriage, because in reality, y'all are doing like what? What's that thing? The stripper thing. When you guys single, whatever, single man party. I don't know what. I don't know. I've never did it, to be honest, man. But I just find it very striking too that we're nowhere near this tradition. We're so far from it. And yes, some of us in smaller towns still exercises, which is beautiful. But when the hell do we pray together? To me, that's what stood out the most. Like they actually, they literally prayed together, man. That's beautiful. Husband and wife, and seeing each other like brother and sister. That's massive respect. And now, how can you know your position? By knowing that you're friends. You know each other. You're going to respect yourself as brethren, but you're going to love your wife, and she's going to love you because she knows her position and you know yours. We need that life back. And the only way we get it back is through the wisdom of the Most High, which is through this Bible. Now, all of this is good and all, but you still got to remember, I'm going to have to remind you, we were disobedient, so we're under curses. Deuteronomy 28:15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. So listen, guys, it's very simple. We didn't listen to our father, okay? So now, because of that, but what does the father do to you if you don't listen to him? Come on, let's just be logical here. To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command you this day, that all these curses, not some of them, not a portion, not when he feels like it, not you and not him. No, all Israel will eventually feel the curses, right? If they're not getting it now, they're going to get it. I'm going to tell you that right now, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. One of the curses was losing your heritage. Here's one of them for sure. I've read this to you guys before, but we got to remind ourselves of it. Give me a second. This is from the Lutheran. Give me a second real quick. Let me see right here. Boom, boom. Okay. Bottom one. Give me a second here real quick. All right, watch this. This is from the Lutheran newsletter. Okay, the Lutheran Witness. I'm sorry, I got it. I got the book finally. I used to use the link, and it's a classic reprint. Watch, I'm going to show you the cover real quick. Let me just save it. View our photos. No, that's not what I want to see. Save it. Give me a second, guys. I'll make it quick. Boom. This book here. Okay. See that book right there? Classic reprint, Lutheran Witness. I don't know who that guy is, to be honest, but the classic reprint, okay? So it's basically the book. All right. So now this is what it says. The printing press came to Mexico. Oh, this was dated in September 7th, 1900. It says the printing press came to Mexico in 1539. For in that year there was printed Mexico in Spanish, a brief compendium of Christian doctrine. So listen, guys, I have read this many times, okay? So I have a lot more to read. So I'm going to summarize it, and you guys can actually go back to it. So if you can see here, it's basically saying that since 1539, since the first printing press was in Mexico, right? Spain was not only prohibiting Mexico, it says, but sternly prohibited the publication of any part of the sacred scriptures in the language of the Mexican people. That prohibition is still in force with regards to the painting, painting of the Bible in any of or printing of the Bible in any of the 52 languages. Okay, so now that's pretty much what it says right here. And let me just get it real quick. You're gonna find that it says that right there on the top. For 350 years, the Mexican press has been at work on lives of saints, on catechisms, on the silliest, most vapid and moral tales in Spanish and taken from Italian and French. But the Bible today is unknown book in Mexico among the majority of the people. Not long since I have a copy, a gospel, of course, from St. John, yada, yada, yada. He gave it to an employee. The employee got to read it. Okay? So now, what happened? You're starting to see. They come, and then all of a sudden, they focus on what? On not letting us see the Bible. Out of all the things, why the Bible? What I mean, it's just like you got to wonder. Here, I got some books here for you guys. Is this it? Okay, occupied. Give me a second. Let's see. Give me a second here. Oh, okay. I got Occupied America: A History of Chicanos. This is from Rodolfo Acuña, third edition. Okay, watch this. Okay, watch this. I'm gonna read this one right here. All right, watch. It says, throughout the 19th century. Oop, my bad. Throughout the 19th century, Texas had a history of violence. The system, however, condoned more extreme forms of terror towards Mexicans, since it considered them foreigners, and not entitled to equal protection under the law. Authorities favored North American, and in altercation between the two races, the Mexicans were presumed at fault. A mindset developed that the Mexicans did not count. All right, that state did not the state did not so I'm sorry, the state did not rely solely on violence to control Mexicans. Wow. As you can see, there was a lot of class division, okay, implying their races. Yeah, we know that. Now look at this, guys. I'm gonna show you this real quick. Third edition, and then the seventh edition. That's the book I'm talking about. Okay, hold up. Is that it? No, there's no way. I have more here. Oh, it's up here. Okay. All right. Okay, so we got that here. All right, got that there. Give me a second. For oppression and privilege. Let me see. The next book I have is called Oppression and Privilege and Resistance, and I guess that's where the title came from. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull up these pages real quick. Y'all bear with me. I'm a little bit slow today. Sorry. I was really busy today, and I kind of Anyways, hold up. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. So here's my page. Let me see. I'm looking for this one. Where are you? Upload it. Give me a second, guys. I thought I sent it out. I wonder what happened. Let me see if I could upload them real quick, so then you can take a look at them. Not the ones I have already. Got those. We got that already. Huh. I thought I took pictures of it. Okay, let's see. Give me a second, guys. All right, let's see the post. I'm posting them on my page. I always share what I have, guys. So you guys are, if you're a friend, you're more than welcome to check it out. All right. So the next one we're gonna look at is this one right here. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why this is acting funny. Come on, man. Come on. My apologies, guys. Facebook is acting weird on me right now. And, oh, it's always when you need it to work the most that you don't actually get to work. All right, let's see. Okay, here it goes. That's the page I'm looking for. Okay, hold on. I found the page. Thank you very much. All right, so now, as you can see, this is from a book called Oppression, Privilege, and Resistance. Okay, I might have read this to you guys before, but here's what these guys are saying that we've encountered and how similar. And I don't think they're even referencing the Bible, to be frank with you. They're just literally just expressing it the way they see it. Okay, and I don't remember what page it is. Let me see, page 89. Perfect. All right, so now watch this. It says the land of one people is invaded by people. Let me read it up there. I'm gonna read up here, okay, on the top, which is, I feel that the parallels between Chicanos' experience in the United States and the colonization of the other third world peoples are too similar to this myth. Huh, that's weird. And I wonder what he means by third world peoples, right? Anyways, attendance to the definition of colonization are the following conditions. Watch this, guys. This is the Bible talking to you Hebrews, to you so-called Hispanics and Native Indians. Listen, I'm gonna move this over here so then I can read it, all right? All right, check this out. It says, the land of one people is invaded by people from another country who later uses military force to gain and maintain control. Did we not read in Deuteronomy 28:49 that happened? Watch this. Deuteronomy 28:49. The Lord shall bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. The land of one people is invaded by people from another country. Number two, this is a list, conditions of colonization, okay? The original inhabitants became subject of the conquerors involuntarily. Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies which the Lord shall send against thee. In hunger, remember, I'm in Deuteronomy 28:48, okay? In hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Verse 43 and 44. Remember what it says. The original inhabitants become subjects to the conqueror involuntarily. Involuntarily now we're subject to them. I mean, we don't own any banks and we take the money to them. It says here, the stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt become very low. And thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Is not the Americas, that's from Mexico down, America's backyard, or el trasero de los Estados Unidos? Another condition, the conquered have an alien culture and government imposed upon them. Lamentations 5 and 2. You see what he says in Lamentations 5 and 2? It says the same exact thing. Lamentations 5:2 says, our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. The conquered have an alien culture. The government imposes upon them. What? What? Yeah. Number 4, another of the list. The conquered become the victims of racism and cultural genocide and are relegated to a submerged status. Oh, man. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 22. It literally says it exactly almost the same. Well, I can't say exactly almost the same. So it says it almost the same. The Lord, Deuteronomy 28:20. The Lord shall send against thee cursing. The conquered become the victim of racism. Cursing, vexation, and rebuke. First of all, cursing. Hey, you beaner, you spick. Vexation. Guess what? You react to it, man. You're frustrated. You're already pissed off because you broke. You brown. You look like a Indian. That's at least what they told us. Somebody that before the white man came and the black man came, yeah, from Europe. Both of y'all did. Okay. We were told that we were just a bunch of uncivilized Indians, regardless of what we knew of the Aztecs and the Mayas and the Incas and every other tribe that was here. Culturally, our remembrance of ourselves, it's not hard to see that we were valuable people. Listen, guys, 3,000, 2,800 herbs came out of Mexico. It's on its just Mexico, not even Central or even South America, just Mexico on its own. My wife is a so-called, I guess, herbalist, right? And I had an illness which I'm getting better. Obviously, it's because of the Most High. I already know this, but because of her, He used her to help me. Obviously, too, man. I asked for mercy, to be honest. I'll talk about it in another class because I'd have a class for that. Something happened, which is amazing. Anyway, number 4, the conquered became the victims of racism. So now we're beaners, wetback sticks. We're not technically legally, we're not legal, even though we're legal in our own country. If you think about it, this is our land. Whether you're native or whether you're Mexican or so-called Peruvian or so-called Brazilian, we're not free. We're still in captivity. We pay taxes. Everything that we pay taxes on everything. That's Baruch 3:8. Number 5. Oh no, wait, hold on. Let me finish. Deuteronomy 20:20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursings, vexations, and rebuke in all that thou settest thy hand for to do, until thou be destroyed and until thou perish quickly. That destruction is in the mind. The perishing is of your history, your heritage, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. Here, the conquered become the victims of racism and cultural genocide. What do? They take away our heritage and are regulated to a submerged status. You know what I'm saying? Are regulated to a submerged status. What does that mean? What's that mean? Think about it. Hold on, give me a second. What does that mean? Think about it. A submerged status. Let me bring it up again. No. Conquered, become the victim of racism, a cultural genocide. Get rid of these Hebrews. Tell them they're Mexicans. Tell them, and there's a powerful name behind the name Mexican or Mexico, Mexica, Mexiaca. I understand that, guys, but the connotation to the name is no longer the powerful name that it once had. That is why I say it that way. I have an understanding that it's not what I've been told from the so-called other nations. No, I understand that. But it's a connotation now to that name. It's powerful, and we don't get no respect for it. And are relegated to the submerged status. Verse 22. Watch what it says. It says, and the Lord shall smite thee with consumption, and with a fever, and with wait, is that it? No, that's not what I wanted. I don't think that's what I did. Let me see. Let me read it again. Regulated, conquered, verse 20, 22. I'll skip 22 for now because I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Number 5, the conquered are rendered politically and economically powerless. Whoa, we know what that is. For all y'all that don't know, but you should know, Daniel 8:25, it says, and through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. Number 5, the conquered are rendered politically and economically powerless. Why? Because he's going to pass laws. They're going to pass laws that favor them. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, in his mind. So then, because remember, manifest destiny, you guys are only civilized because we came to civilize and conquer you. If it wasn't for us, you'd be completely where you're at now. You wouldn't even be where you're at today. Conquered are rendered politically and economically powerless, meaning what? We're not politically powerful enough. We're not economically powerful enough, right? Supposedly, economically. Politically, we're definitely not, because First of all, we're not supposed to be involved. And second, they're never going to do it. That's why you see other nations with their politicians there before ours. That's a fact, Jack. Listen, Daniel 8:25 and then Deuteronomy 28:65. I wrote them down so you guys can see them too. So when you take notes and you buy this book, put them down in there. I don't know how much the book costs now. Deuteronomy 28:65, it says, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease. The conquered are rendered politically and economically powerless. Doesn't ICE come into your home if you're not legally allowed here? Don't they stop you at the border and question you? And if you have any doubt in you, they'll put you on a corner in a room? That's not ease, guys. That's not ease. Listen, one of my brethren, right, or a family, not family, but so-called Mexican, right, so-called Hispanic. I'm gonna say it like that. Family. We know him. He comes over. He's gonna check out, the house. We need to fix some stuff, and he's out of work right now because his boss, the immigration, took him. So he didn't get paid for a whole month. The conquered are rendered politically and economically powerless. Number 6, the conqueror feels they have a mission in occupying the area in question and believe that they have an undeniable privilege by virtue of their conquest. I put 2nd Esdras chapter 7 verse 9. I wonder why. Let me see. I can see why I did that. But let me go here so I don't have to want to go there too much. 2nd Esdras chapter 6. Chapter 6 verse 54. Watch what it reads. It says, and after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all. And the people also whom thou hast chosen. That's us, not them. And all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sake. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but are like unto a spittle, and have likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. That's what the scriptures say, but they say otherwise. And they made us feel that way. These points also apply to the relationship between Chicanos and Anglos in Mexico and Northwest Territory. Yeah. Because even some Chicanos don't even feel like they're our people. Seriously. Like, no, I don't look like an Indio, bro. I look more kind of whiter. I'm like, bro, ese nopalote que tienes en la frente. So now that we see all of this ruckus, okay? Then we got to deal with this. It just gets worse and worse. I'm like, dude, what happened to our tradition? I want to go back. I want to go back home, or I want to go back to our culture. Whichever one comes first, man.
I started Jewel Dance.
Ooh, we got a lot of work to do, man. Hold up. Oh, that's right. Let me read this. I almost forgot. Even though this gentleman wouldn't mind, I'm sure. Seems pretty cool, but let me read it anyways. Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles does not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material and use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under the fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same year's copyright law. Okay? So let me go ahead and skip this. Let me get this out the way. I just kind of picked a random one, and I mean, even the random one, man, it just seems like too much. You know what I'm saying? Like way too much, way too much. Let me check real quick on some things. Let's see. In scriptures, the rich are too humble, generous, the wealthy, not stingy. My grandma was never stingy. Classism rules Mexico. Yeah, if you're rich compared to the poor indigenous people to sell tacos over there, it's true. The lighter skin you are, the better pay you get. The bywords is no Mexica. Yeah, it's not a Mexica. You're right. It's the connotation to the people of who they know us of that name now. When you hear Mexico or Mexican, all you see when you come to the Americas, all you know is, oh, they're illegal. That's the bottom line. There's a connotation to our name now, and it's not pretty, but that's just the way it is today, and that's a curse. But on top of that curse, Now we got to deal with this. I mean, it's like, which is why we need to discipline ourselves, brethren. That's why, brothers and sisters, we need to discipline ourselves because our children are going to be dealing with this. If we don't know the Bible, they're not going to know it either. So you think this is a problem for you? Imagine them.
How do you see your future now?
I love him.
Wow, that was the worst Darth Vader impersonation I've ever seen. You're hired. And this is the reason, boys and girls.
So we no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Men don't often share their feelings because they end up just upsetting their woman.
Sharing your feelings is not upsetting your woman.
Hey guys, you know that awkward moment when your girl pisses you off and you tell her and she's like,
How dare you?
and now she's angry because you're angry and you have to apologize for making her angry. Yeah, that happens more times than it should.
But only sharing your emotions in response to hers might be. A lot of you choose not to say how you're feeling when you feel it. And then you blame your partner for what you've chosen to repress.
And that's why I personally don't repress myself.
This is entertainment for people now. And they actually go to these channels for suggestions and advice. Oh, man.
If she does something I don't agree with, I tell her. For instance, if her social media is unsanitary, I tell her to sanitize it. And if she's like,
How dare you?
then I'm like,
You're fired.
All gonna be safe, and we're all gonna have a great time. What in the Jesus Christ was that?
well, sweetie, you know what they say. Mess with the bull, you get meat.
He asked me out, and we agreed to go and meet for cocktails at a local vegan restaurant.
Cocktails at a vegan restaurant. You know, you could have done something more exciting, like watching paint dry.
So I get there and I see him, and I'm thinking to myself,
Yeah, this is, I mean, I picked the most boring one, I guess. I thought it would be more entertaining. Here's another one, man. This is even worse. This is what our children are going to deal with. Look, now this rap thing, God, it just took another level. It like just took another level. Hold on, let me block this real quick. Hold on. And by the way, I may have to move it over here because they're going to probably say copyright, whatever. But, wow. I don't even know what to think, to be honest with you, about this video here. Like, where's it going?
Devil, this shit hard.
I wanna kill my mom, kill my mom. I wanna kill my dad, murder him. I wanna kill my grandma, kill my grandma. I wanna kill my mom, kill my mom. I wanna kill my dad, murder him. I wanna kill my grandma, kill my grandma. I wanna kill my dad. He made me go to sleep and now I'm mad. My uncle Lamborghini go too fast. I'm finna hit him on blow some cash. I found the Zuni once again. I'm going viral once again. I'm only 6, I'm paying rent. I'm just a kid and I'm a man. I'll get them V-Bucks on the man. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys get the picture. All right, so now, man, I'm telling you, just. All right, watch this. This is called the spirit of influence. All right, so you guys can go to this webpage or website. I just timeless truth. I just kind of looked it up. All right, I was just curious about this word because it came to my mind. So it says here, the spirit of influence is a compromised spirit who faces towards the world and who steadily lowers the gospel standards so that people can get on easier without having to forsake so much, not to die so completely to self. You see what it sends? The spirit of influence. This is the influence. This is a spirit of influence that we have to deal with as well. That's why I brought it up. It's a very short point, but I found it interesting because I just ran into it. And watch this. Galatians 5:16. Look what it says here. Let me go back over here now because we're done with those videos. We have one more of these type, but man, it's going to scare you. So y'all be careful. Galatians 5:16. Watch what it says. It says, "This I say then, walk in the spirit of the Most High," right? "And ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusted against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary one to another, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would." Remember the spirit of influence? So you don't have the spirit of the Most High. You got the spirit of influence on you, whether you like it or not. Because I know that some of y'all have probably like homosexual brothers or cousins or whatever, and you're at, before the truth, you're probably like, I ain't doing this or whatever, but you were okay with it. Like, hey, what's up, man? You didn't tell them, hey, bro, listen, the scripture states. Not at all. Not at all. Here's the most disturbing one out of all of them. And this is what we're dealing with. What happened to our heritage, to our customs, our ways, our old school, like traditional?
We are human. Our phones
And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And we need to have discipline, which is why I keep saying it over and over. That's the only way we're going to overcome ourselves, our flesh, and also help our children and families. And watch this, guys. This is, I don't even know what to tell y'all. All right, watch this.
It's called.
A family can be made up in many different ways.
It's called SOGI, for Sexual Orientation and Gender Identification, a curriculum that teaches public school students across Canada to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle and that gender is fluid. In other words, your gender is not dependent on what parts you were born with.
Remember the spirit of influence. That's what I'm talking about, okay? The spirit of influence.
But rather what you feel like in the moment.
There's people that are boys, there's people that are girls. There are people whose gender might be a little bit of both or might even be neither.
Lessons include books about transgender children, such as 10,000 Dresses, and songs like The Rainbow Song.
Gender won't decide the choices we make. Some boys like dressing up, some girls like catching snakes.
The SOGI.
Wow. Did you guys hear that? I'm not going to play it again, but no, I have to. I cannot believe they sing this song. Oh my God, I didn't even hear that.
The choices we make, some boys like dressing up, some girls like catching snakes.
Wow. All right, Deuteronomy 28:64, man, I got to go get that. And you guys are probably like, how the hell do you watch it? Deuteronomy 28:64. It says, "And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, to one end of the earth, even unto another. And there thou shalt serve other gods." What does this God say? Oh, love everyone. God loves the sinner, not the sin, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So see, this is how I know that this is our book, because the other nations can't say that. The so-called black man can't say that. Because it says here, serve other gods. If they ruled Russia, if they were the Russian icons ruling Europe, so then they didn't know these guys. They should have. They knew these guys because they were also wearing the cross. Anyway, just a side point. Just a side point. But it shall scatter you among all people. So what are these people going to do? What are they going to do to you? Watch this. "And among these nations thou shalt find no ease." I see this. I'm lucky. My children go to homeschool. But imagine the parents that have to deal with this. This is in Canada.
The SOGI curriculum started in British Columbia in 2016 and is quickly spreading throughout Canada.
I just thought, who decided that this was okay to teach our children?
Author and inspirational speaker Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson is a leading voice against the SOGI curriculum.
And we are seeing the results of that now, because some kids are reacting very emotionally and saying, and they're in fear. Will I suddenly struggle with feeling like a different gender inside of my body?
Carrie
And you know what? That's actually very true because when you're a kid and you're a young boy or a young girl, you don't like girls, you don't like boys. I mean, maybe some of y'all were like that. I was like, "Ew, nah, man, I want to play with my toys, bro. I want to go play soccer. I want to go do this. I want to go do that. I have no time for girls like that. Come on." But if you present that to an 8-year-old child who's still not even there, and all of a sudden you open up that door, like, well, I don't like girls. I mean, I get along with my best friend. Does that mean, oh my God, maybe little Richard, maybe. Seriously, man, the spirit of influence.
Larry Simpson of Culture Guard, another leading opponent, calls the curriculum nothing short of child abuse.
All those beautiful qualities that make young girls, beautiful girls and women, are being basically vilified. The things that make our boys boys are being, taken from them. So things of equating young men to being strong protectors is something that's now evil.
But Morgan Auger, a transsexual and supporter, claims it's about acceptance, not indoctrination.
No. What's happening now is if you know that the pronouns and all that crap, you see how he's saying it's about acceptance. Why is he focusing acceptance of children? Because the next move is what? Pedophilia. They're going to legalize that thing. I'm going to tell you right now. I see it coming. Because those pronouns, oh, you can't call me he, she. You got to call me them, whatever. So now this guy can always say, listen, I'm 12 years old. In my mind, I'm 12 years old. Just like, people can say whatever they want to say. Like, well, I'm a door. Well, I'm a camera. Well, I'm a dog, so I'm gonna marry a dog. Well, guess what? Well, I'm 12 years old. I want to marry a 12-year-old. You don't think that the spirit of influence? I'm telling y'all.
The idea is to teach kids that there are gay kids and there are trans kids and there are trans parents and gay parents in our society, and everybody's wanted and desired. After all, that's what our Human Rights Code says, and it's the role of schools to teach the following of our laws, right?
Simpson disagrees, saying she sees Soji's real.
Did you see this of their laws? So now we're obligated. Hey, we're scattered among all nations, and I'm gonna show you. Oh, matter of fact, let's do it now, because I'm sure someone's gonna ask, and they do ask me all the time. Well, where were you guys scattered? Okay, I'm gonna take you out through several books. Y'all take the notes, okay? This is from Black Indians, okay? It says here, Christopher Columbus, whose unique seamanship and courage had opened the Americas to European penetration, also began the transatlantic slave trade. They didn't just begin it with us. It was all about us. Because the so-called black man did not go on slave ships like we did. Y'all were indentured servants coming through head right programs directly from Europe. That is how you guys are scattered, because of the Phoenician seamanship, okay? Let's just keep it real, guys. And maybe some of y'all that are watching this channel look like a so-called black man, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not saying that you guys are not our people. All I'm saying is that the original Hebrews did not have woolly hair, nor were they African. So we did mix. All of us mixed, but I know for a fact, based on what I found, no, we didn't have the woolly. We're not part of the woolly team. I'm sorry, guys. If you guys feel that way, then you got to find your salvation somewhere else. This is not the channel for it. Because the so-called Hispanics and Native Indians, so far, we've proven that we are the actual Hebrews. So we're waiting for some of y'all to prove it, because you haven't. You haven't. I'm sorry. The Deuteronomy 28, all that chapter does not apply to y'all. None of it. Mostly it might be like, what, 4 or 5 verses? Sorry to tell you. That's just a fact. And it says here, it says, in 1498, he wrote enthusiastically to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella about the business possibilities. From here, in the name of blessed Trinity, we can send all the slaves that can be sold. When he loaded 1,100 Taino men and women aboard 4 Spanish ships. The crowding and the stormy Atlantic crossing took a fearful toll. Only 300 survived. Guess what they did to the rest of them? Yeah, those movies that you see so-called black people being tossed overboard, no, that was us. That was us. All right? Here's another one. This is one I have from an old one called, what's it called? What is it called? I have it on my cell phone. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on a second. Where are you? Hold on. It's something about Indian something. Hold on. It's called Indian Slavery in Colonial Times Within the Present Limits of the United States by Alman Wheeler Lorber, Ph., 1913. It says, the high authority of the church sanctioned the institutions of slavery. Yes. So you Christians, right? You vocabs, you Christians that are getting super chats and arguing with people in the Black Hebrew converts about who was there. Oh, yeah, Christianity. Okay. How come you guys have never admitted that that papal bull did exactly this? And you guys have never denied it? Not publicly. No Christian doctrines institution has said, we passed the papal bull that enslaved all of you guys, and we are sorry. Where's our reparations? Oh, you want to give reparations to other people that didn't even go through it. Okay, whatever. It says here, all barbarous and infidel nations who shut their ears to the truth of Christianity, fair objects are rapine, captivity, and slavery. So they're fair, they're open game. Then it says, in writing of Florida, he declared it his belief that the Indians can never be made submissive and become Christians. So he advocated that they still be taken, placed on ships, and scattered throughout the various islands, and even on the Spanish Main, where they might be sold as His Majesty sells his vessels to the grandees in Spain. So there is a location in Spain, in Lisbon, I believe, where they would sell them to everywhere else. Africa, Europe, they did that. Oh, do I have to show you those things too? Okay, let's go. This is from, what book is this from? Why the Cops Fight. Watch this real quick, okay? It says, by the next year, the Spaniards had sent their artillery, cavalry, and trained dogs out to quiet the Indians. They took 1,600 prisoners and sent 550 to Spain for sale in the slave market in Seville. Sorry, I recorded that. The Indians left behind either fled to hills or were forced into labor in the gold mines and required. Look at this. If they did not pay, the Spaniards cut off the Indians' hands. Oh man, I'm gonna have to do this. Y'all say that we don't go to curses, that we didn't go to the slave ships. Okay, fine. Right, I'm gonna show you this too. Ezekiel chapter 23, 25. Watch what it says. It says, and I will set my jealousy against thee, and they shall deal furiously with thee. They shall take away thy nose and thine ears, and thy remnant shall fall by the sword. So if they took your nose and ears, guess what? They took your hands. Oh yeah, they took your hands. You damn right they did. I showed pictures. Here's another. Oh, Republic and Resistance. We saw that. Here's America. This is it. Let me see this one. This is from, I believe, American Holocaust. Okay, watch this. It says, certified to go powerfully enter country to make war with the dad, the wife, children. We shall take you and your wives and your children and shall make you slaves. So that's when they showed up to this land. Take you, make you slaves, and as such sell and dispose of them. What does it say? Dispose of them as their highness may command. And we shall take your goods and shall do all the mischief and damage we can as to vassals who do not obey and refuse to receive the Lord and resist, contradict him. Then it says here, first the Indians were manacled. Then, as it were, they were read their rights, as one Spanish conquistador and historian describes the route. After they had been put in chains, someone read the requerimiento without knowing their language and without interpreters, and without either the reader or the Indian understanding the language. They had no opportunity to reply. Immediately carried away prisoners to the Spanish. Carried away prisoners. The Spanish not failing to use the stick on those who did not go fast enough. After all, Columbus had seized and kidnapped Indian men, women, and children throughout his first voyage, long before the requerimiento was in use. 5 at one stop, 6 at another, more at others, filling his ships with various samples of Indians to display like exotic beasts in Seville and Barcelona upon his return. Then it says here, the Indians men would have he took women with them so they could behave better. You see. I think that's from another page. Taking control. by the natives to employ them in farms and export them as he said fit without the payment. Yeah, he's talking about the enslavement. Let's see. Nope, that's it. That's it. Then I got some more here. I got some links for y'all. It says here, Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. Watch this. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in numbers among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead thee. This is when we were starting really like a very small amount left here and abroad, okay? But the Most High did not allow us to go completely disappear. I think one of the pages was from Columbus to Castro, okay? Watch this real quick. And I'm kind of being a little sloppy today, guys. I'm sorry. Just been trying to catch up. This is from Futurity. You guys can check it out. It says the Native American slavery is a piece of history. Is a piece of the history of slavery that has been glossed over. Says Linsford D. Fisher, associate professor of history at Brown University, between 1492 and 1880. Between 2 and 5.5 million Native Americans were enslaved in Americas. In addition, that's a lie. Let's go. While natives had been forced into slavery and servitude as early as 1636, it was not until King Philip's War that natives were enslaved in large numbers. Fisher writes in study. In the 1660, 75, and 76 war pitted Native American leader King Philip, also known as Metacom, and his allies against the English colonial settlers. They passed a law in 1662 that would basically kidnap all of our sisters and make them slaves. So you think that our people were mad? Yeah, we were. But watch this. During the war, New England colonies routinely shipped Native Americans as slaves to Barbados, Bermuda, Jamaica, the Azores, Spain, and Tangier in North Africa. Next one. Same thing. They say the same thing here. Right? That's from the actual university. Slave ships, Maya found. This is. Give me a second, guys. See if I can do this real quick. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Watch this, all right?
This debris on the seafloor is all that remains of a 160-year-old slave ship. Mexican scientists recently identified the vessel as La Unión, believed to have gone down in September of 1861.
The big takeaway after uniting this multidisciplined investigation is that we know for a fact this is the steamboat La Unión, which sank on September 19, 1861. We also know that apart from the cargo that was being hauled to Cuba, there were Mayans illegally held captive aboard.
Though the wreckage of the ship was first located in 2017, researchers are still shining a light into its history.
The wreck of La Unión off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula is the first ever Mayan slave ship ever to be identified. Researchers say it provides evidence of the enslavement of indigenous people long after the abolishment of slavery in Mexico.
The time period also coincides with the War of the Castes, a revolt led by indigenous people of the Yucatan Peninsula against the population of European descendants, a conflict.
Yeah, it's Ezekiel chapter 23, verse 25. Okay, Ezekiel 23, verse 25. That's the one where they cut the nose off. Okay, yeah, Ezekiel 23, 25. Okay, and then there's pictures that you can show the natives, our native brothers and sisters, having their noses chopped off and hands and arms. That's very easy to find on Google. Okay, let's continue.
That lasted through the end of the 19th century. Scientists say the discovery helps to establish a historical record for the descendants of indigenous Mayans whose ancestors had been brutalized and exploited since the days of the American conquest.
Beyond elements of justice, it would be worth finding the descendants of those who stayed behind on the Yucatan Peninsula and those who were taken to Cuba and find out their story.
You are looking at them. Maybe you don't realize it. Maybe she's not our sister. Who knows? But it's funny how like they're talking about their own heritage, right? Anyway, look, it's almost done.
I think that's the most important part, the human element.
Experts say despite its many years under the sea, the wooden hull of La Union is well preserved, aiding in the accurate identification of the vessel.
Okay, perfect. All right, so here's the other book I got. We're going to go to page 48 and 48 through 49, and I guess I'll skip 49 and I'll go to 50. Watch what it reads, okay? It says here, in their attitude towards the Indians, the Spaniards, it's called The Indian Slavery in Colonial Times with the Present Limits of the United States in 1880, page 48 and then 50. In their attitude towards the Indians, the Spaniards simply applied the theory of their time regarding slavery. The taking of slaves was then considered part of any expedition of discovery or conquest. The high authority of the church sanctioned the institution of slavery. Institution of slavery to the extent that the leading theologians had declared all barbarous and infidel nations who shut their ears to the. Yeah, we read that over there, right? And it said the same thing. Watch this. In Florida, he declared it left a belief that the Indians can never be submissive and become Christians, so he advocated that they all be taken, placed on ships, scattered throughout the various islands, and even on the Spanish Main, where they might be sold, and Majesty sell the vessels and grandees in Spain. So you can see, right? Watch this. And it goes here, it says, the Spanish exploring expeditions were war expeditions in the sense that they aimed to conquer and retain for the crown the territory through which they passed. All these expeditions captured and retained Indians as slaves. Yet in some cases, it might be difficult to determine whether the Indians enslaved or captives taken in actual warfare or whether they were just merely kidnapped by the expedition passing through their territory. We know what happened, okay? Now, check this out. Verse 50, page 50. In the Patent to Soto also, it was required that he should carry with him the religious and priests who shall be appointed by us, for instruction of the natives of the providence of the Holy Catholic faith. The idea of Christianizing the natives was applied to both free and slave Indians. Taking slave captives by force and then Christianizing them was the continuation of what was known as the exercise of a just and pious doctrine against pagans and heathens, a doctrine common to other nations as well as to Spain. See that, guys? So for all you that say that, no, you guys didn't go on slave ships, where's the books and all of this stuff, listen, we're not boastful people, so more likely you ain't going to know if we're anywhere. We're not boastful. Unlike other people, we're not. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real. So let's go now to Luke 21:24, because he also said that in there too. In case you guys don't know. Watch Luke 21:24, my bad. 21:24, and it reads, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So it hasn't been fulfilled just yet. But it says here, we will be led away captives. This is regarding actual Jerusalem in 40 and 70 AD. But didn't this happen here as well? Don't we know that the scriptures talk about Jerusalem being the actual nation of Israel? That we are Jerusalem? Like before the city, where it's the people? I can't remember the scripture. Why do you think James said what he said? James 1:1 says, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. How abroad were we? Let me close these windows. Man, that's disgusting. How abroad were we? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 26. I'm going to show you all something real quick. Leviticus 26:37. And they shall fall one upon another, as if it were before a sword. And when none pursueth, he shall have no power to stand before your enemies. Aren't you dealing with some of this? I know that I had a lot of friends who just passed away. I had, I guess you could say, respectable men that I had a lot of respect for, and they because of circumstances, divorce in my family and, stuff like that, they left. And they shall fall one upon another. You have no support. Right now, a lot of us, we don't have support like that. A lot of us feel lonely. I mean, and we're in the midst of all of this. Honestly, I don't fit in, man. I don't ever feel comfortable in this society. I've never have, especially now with the Bible. I definitely don't. I'd rather stay home. Honestly. I mean, I can't because, I have kids, so I got to get out. And they shall fall one upon another as if it were before a sword, as if it were before a sword, but it's not. It's not a sword. When none pursue it, you see that? And your mind will also be destroyed. We just following each other like zombies, man. That's how our people are. We're just walking around like zombies, just bumping into walls, bumping into each other. We're just dead. And you shall have no power to stand before your enemies. They can do what they want. They can say what they want. What are we doing? Nothing. We can't do anything. And ye shall perish among the heathen. Don't we feel that sometimes? I mean, prior to me even knowing that I was a Hebrew, that's how I felt. Verse 22, it says, "And I will send wild beasts among you." That's the nation of other people. This is these people here. We see wild beasts, their mentality, that transgender crap, man. That whole, body count stuff. Now you got little kids rapping, saying, "I'm gonna kill my mama, I'm gonna kill my grandma, and I will send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children." Don't you think that that's gonna rob our children? That type of message. I mean, you gotta see what is going on, robbing our children. Wait, you think that by robbing our children, they don't take our heritage? That's exactly how they do it. Get rid of the old, get rid of the young. The old won't teach us, the young won't remember. They can't get rid of you. I mean, they would if they could. Revelation 6:8, it says, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. Now, I looked up this word, and it was very interesting, man, because it mentioned also plagues, wickedness, and hell followed with him. Now, there's a lot of ways to look at the scripture, guys, so I'm not going to go too into it. I'm just going to say that who sat on the horse was Death, meaning wickedness. A wicked mentality, a wicked spirit, a spirit, a wicked influence, or wicked spiritual influence, which will rob you of your heritage. By this confusion, transgender, same-sex marriage, you don't know who you are, you're so-called this, you're so-called that, laws against us, everything's oppression, right? A lot of us are trying to make it, but a lot of us, like, nationally, man, the Hispanic people, actually, we're not well off, man. Come on, let's be real. We were hardworking, but we're not well off. We're paycheck to paycheck. Let's just keep it real. And in Mexico and Central and South America, it's even worse. That's why we keep coming here. If not, we wouldn't. So when you bring death and you bring wickedness and you bring the spirit of influence and you want to rob our children, this is why we started going this route. Jeremiah 17:4. "And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage which I gave to thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever." Watch, I'm going to read it this way so help you guys make sense. "And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thy heritage that I gave to thee. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever." Now you guys get it? That's exactly what he's saying. He was going to cause these to serve us our enemies. Our enemies would then take away our heritage, our culture, everything about us, because the Most High is mad at us. And again, Luke 21, "Led away captive into all nations." But I'm gonna tell you something, and I talked to somebody, a beloved sister, man. I was really got me thinking of that, and that's kind of what triggered this class too. It was a combination of things. Amos 3:1 says, "Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. That's like a father to his son. Listen, son. I could care less what your friends do. I made rules. I gave you rules. You broke the rules. You're gonna pay. I don't care about your friends. Isn't that what we did? What we do? Why is the Most High any different? Why would some of us hold judgment against our Father when we broke the rules? Come on, man. Let's be real. We broke the rules. Ain't no finger pointing here. Don't point the finger at the white man. The Most High sent them. Like I said, that joke. There's a dog, and his master is always whooping his butt. He loves his master, but he hates the belt that the master is using. It's ridiculous. Guess what? He should just listen to the master, huh? And not get whooped by the belt. But we're being taught wrong. We're being taught wrong. Like the following verse says, can two walk together except they be agreed? So we, right, are walking with the Most High. So because we walk with the Most High, he's going to deal with us accordingly. He don't walk with the other nations. So he's not walking with them. This is a privilege. It's a privilege to even be in this position. Hosea 5:15. I mean, think about it. No other nation has the opportunity to be saved. I will go and return to my place. Hosea 5:15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense. That's like a father saying, listen, man, I need you to leave the house. I need you to leave the house. Like you got 2 weeks to get your crap and you out. But why? I told you to make rules, you don't want to listen. Okay, cool. I will go and return to my place, meaning I kick them out till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. And in their affliction, they will seek me early. Just like this guy right here. I wasn't even thinking of it, but it came to mind, so I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to make it quick. Is it 15? Yeah, the parable of the prodigal son. I'll summarize it. You guys can read it. Basically, this guy's like, let's see, it goes right here. I'll read it right here. In Luke 15:11, and a certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and were wasted with substance, with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there citizen of that country, and he sent him to his field to feed swine. So basically, this son was like, even to the point where he just like wanted to eat that swine food, but they didn't want to give him that. And then when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father have bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger? See that? That's why the Most High says that in Hosea 5:15. Until you guys get it. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense. Yes, you were the rebellious child. You were the prodigal son. You were like, I don't care. Give me my portion. I'm Israel. I'm above all people. Yeah, that's right. Damn. Nope, you're not. As long as you are not with me, you're walking with kryptonite. And seek my face in their affliction. They will seek me early. Y'all are afflicted. You better start looking. That's what I did. I got tired, man. I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got tired of getting beat up, man. I was getting spiritually beat up. I'm sure some of y'all are feeling the same way, because I did. Isaiah 54:8. In a little wrath, I hid my face. You see, in a little wrath. So even though we feel like, oh my God, this is hard, what? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. In a little wrath, I hid my face from thee for a moment. Just for a moment. Y'all think it's forever. It's not. In your mind, you feel like it's forever. Because we're very negative. So we look at the negativity more than the positive side, right? So obviously that weight is more. So we make sure we magnify it. Oh my God, it's so huge, it's so bad. I'm so horrible. Yeah, but you still can repent. In a little wrath, I hid my face from thee for a moment. But with everlasting kindness, I will have mercy on thee. Say the Lord, thy Redeemer. You see that, guys? So it's not over. But if anything, y'all should welcome this. You should welcome this chastisement. Like what? Hebrews 12:11 says, now chastising for the present seemeth to be now no chastising for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, after it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. You see that? A little chastising doesn't seem joyous, guys, at first, but you know what? Eventually it gets to the point where it does become joyous. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, let me put this up. I'm gonna put some of you. Let me slow down a bit. Let me see some of your what you guys are saying. Give me a sec. Okay, what's going on? Okay, cool. Let's see. Hold up. Let's see. Because you disdain all my counsel and my reproof, you ignored. I, in my turn, will laugh at your doom. Yeah. Let it be true, said the Lord. That's right, man. Here. Hold up. That's right, man. That's right. Let's see. They say good is evil and evil is good. Yup. Yes, exactly. Yeah. All praises, man. It's very true. It's very true. So let's go to it again. Now, no chastising for the present seemeth to be joyous. It doesn't, man. It doesn't, honestly, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yielded peaceable fruit. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Think about it. Nevertheless, afterwards it yielded peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which exercise hereby. You know what he's saying? He's saying this right here. Watch this. Give you guys a little hint. James 1 and 2. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations. Have a perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. That's exactly what he's saying in Hebrews 12. Hebrews 12:11. Watch. It says, and now no chastising for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterwards it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness, which is what? Patience. Unto them which are exercised thereby. Patience. Let her patience have her perfect work. Patience brings peace. And we lack patience as Latinos, Hispanics, Native Indians. We lack patience. We want things to be done now. Apúrate. That's how we talk, man. That's how it is. 1 Corinthians 11:30. I'm almost done. 11:32. I'm almost done, guys. It says, but when we are judged, we are chastised of the Lord. Okay? That we should not be condemned with the world. That's why. So you sisters that I spoke with, Jan, you need to really see this. That we should not be condemned with the world. That's why. You see, you're not part of the other nations. You're walking with the Most High. So you have standards. And he says it here. But when you are judged, or when we are judged, we are chastised of the Lord. You should feel privileged. Ain't nobody. He don't got time for nobody but us. Yes, does he care for the other nations? Of course, he made them, but for a purpose. But he chose us over them. That's a fact. That we should not be condemned with the world. That's why you get chastised. He doesn't want us to be stuck here. Look what Job said. Even Job, man, Job is pretty deep on this. Job 5:17, 5:22. 5:17 or 22? Yeah, 5:17. What was I thinking? It says, behold, happy is the man whom God correcteth. Therefore, despise not thou the chastising of the Almighty. Remember that, sis? Don't despise it. Welcome it. Say, I'll praise it to the Most High God that this is happening to me. Here, I'm going to share with you all now, okay? So I had shingles. And right off the bat, man, I started praying and I wasn't like, oh my God, why am I sick? No. The first thing I did was like, I prayed to God. I said, please, God, forgive me. Forgive me for what I've done. Whatever I've done, please let me know what I've done. I welcome the blessings that you've given me, and I welcome the plague that you struck me with. Because maybe through this plague, I'm going to realize what I did wrong. And you know what? I'll praise it to the Most High that I did find out. I found out. And that's how he chastises people. If I'm over here trying to teach y'all, guess what? My standards have just been risen. I got to be on point about a lot of things. Because my duties are owed. Because the moment I made the mistake, a few days later, bam. And I've never experienced any kind of illness like this. And I'm telling y'all guys, that stuff hurts, man. And I can handle pain, but man, oh my God, shingles hurt. They numbed my entire left arm, shoulder. It was horrible. It was horrible. I didn't use Western medicine though. He educated my wife with herbal medicine. And guess what? I've been feeling better, but I lost at the same time. I believe it's because of the humility. I'm going to tell you, man, you find strength in humility. There's power in humility. There's power in humility. Proverbs 15:22. Without counsel, purpose are disappointed. You see that? Like without counsel, there's no point in life. But in the multitude of counselors, there are established. That's why, as a nation, the elders suggest, consult, and advise. The mothers, the fathers, that's our job. And it says, without counsel, purpose are disappointed. You see that we need counsel. We need correction. Correction is joyous. Now, I'll tell you this. Once you're being corrected, well, guess what you're supposed to do? You're getting corrected. Now guess what? Okay, 2 Timothy 2:15. And you get your butt to the books. Time to study. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of your past. Don't be ashamed of what you've done. Admit your faults to the Most High, to the fullest. And study the Bible so that you can know and more learn about Him. When you walk towards Him, He walks towards you. And the only tool that we have right now is the Bible. Study to show thyself approved unto God, nobody else. A workman or woman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Don't be ashamed to teach your children. Don't be ashamed to teach your wife. Don't be ashamed to teach your husband if you're the first one hearing it. Rightfully study to divide the truth. You cannot be going around thinking that you understand. That's why I'd say humility is key. Study the scriptures. It'll take a few years. Hey, listen, guys. I'm not saying we don't got time, but remember, we're running a race, but run it in patience. Have a pace. Have a pace, okay? Now remember, in this walk, this is one important thing. 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, for God had not given us a spirit of fear. So when you're studying and you're starting to examine yourself and you're starting to see all the character defects that you hate the most and you scare yourself the most, for God had not given you the spirit of fear. Face it. Because guess what? We're so far from our heritage, we got to walk through that valley of death to get it back. Because we're so far from it. Now, remember, this fear is going to keep us sane, at least for the most part. And with the scriptures, it'll do this too. Casting down imaginations. 2 Corinthians 10:5, casting down imaginations. And every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God. And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So the fear, right? The confusion, the anger because maybe you're getting treated, worse than others and you don't know why. Well, because the Most High is dealing with you. Verse 6, and having in readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. You see that? When our obedience is fulfilled, then that's when he's gonna send his son. And having a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. You see that? We can slowly see changes too, obviously, but then it's gonna be that big one. Bam. That's the one. That's the key right there. Ephesians 6:17. I'm almost done, guys. It says, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Remember that? A double-edged sword. So it cuts you. Cuts you too. But the helmet of salvation is for what? To cast down all imagination. Okay? The helmet of salvation is what? The Bible. It's all in your mind. The renewing of the mind. I keep saying that over and over again. We don't have the spirit of fear, guys. We got to face that. And we got to get back to our heritage. Like we've been so far from it. And I realize now, like we're so destroyed, and some of us are very alone and frustrated and angry, and that is definitely going to keep you away from the Most High. Y'all got to work on that, and it's okay, because you know what? I was like that too. So it's not like I never experienced it. Sirach 37:13 it says, and let the counsel of thy own heart stand. For there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. For a man's mind is sometimes wont to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above an high tower. Okay? So it says, let thy counsel of thine own heart stand. But why though? It says here, verse 12, but be continually with a godly man whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord. whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. Let the counsel of thy own heart stand, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. If you're surrounded with godly men, because if you're not surrounded with godly men, for a man's mind is sometimes wants to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above a high tower. So when you're on your own and you're not counseling around good men, your mind is going to tell you a bunch of things that even maybe some good advice you won't hear. Watch this. This is in Spanish. I'm going to translate it for y'all. Give me a second. Maybe I already have it open. Oh, yeah, I do have it open. Hold up. Here you go, there. This is from a beloved brethren. He does a lot of these online. And he went to page 102. Watch this real quick. I'm going to translate it for you. Page 102, 104, and 105. Okay, it says here. Let's see. It says you're right. That's my dog in the background. I bought him a bone because he tends to chew on everything, so I don't want to get mad at him anymore. It says here, Mexico, nombre hebreo. Mexico meaning a Hebrew name. Entre las 70 versiones, in the 70 versions of the origin and significado de la palabra de México, the significance of the word Mexico. 11 la hace derivar del jefe de la, hold on a second, de la migración, fundador de la capital azteca y un numen tribal, dice Motolina. Man, some of you guys don't speak Spanish. What am I talking about? This is a Spanish channel. Anyways, it says, demostraré en el quinto capítulo que Hereo o numen opónimo de la ciudad es una creación y posteriori, fenómena universal. So it says, antes de evocar las interpretaciones de I think I'm saying it right, and then recordemos el pretendido origen bíblico, cuidado del nombre y sobre todo la estirpe, escribe Fray Diego Durán, okay? So it's showing that here he's talking about the actual name itself, right? That he says it's conclusion, or at least that there's some origin to the Hebrew. Watch this. It says right here, Messi el Mesías. No es extraño, pues, que el dominico Fray Gregorio García, 1554 to 1627, vea en México un nombre hebreo, debido al hecho obvio de que los mexicanos descienden de la tribu perdida de Israel. Messi es el Mesías, y México la ciudad del Mesías, la ciudad de Jesucristo, y no de Huitzilopochtli. Okay? So now, it says here, 105. It says here, okay, con razón debe apreciar más este nombre México, de donde ha salido de rendición de tantas almas, donde tanto se ha ensaldado. Hold on, I didn't even show you guys the book. Man, what's wrong with me? Guerra Simón, Historia del Nombre y de la Fundación de México. My apologies, guys. I don't know if you guys even asked for it. Hold on a second. Hold on. I kind of go with it. My apologies, guys. My apologies. Hold up. Let's see. All right. Yes, some Native American ceremonies, pagan practices. Yahweh is the light. Yes, that's right. Amen. Some Native American ceremonies were pagan practice from ancient heathens. The Maypole tradition, the human sacrifices are all pagan sacrifices learned from foreigners as examples of the many more. The Maypole tradition, you talk about like the voladores, because you know who does that? They do that in India. I think that's what you mean, the voladores, or something else. Amen. Judges 3:1, those nations in darkness were created to test and fortify the law of Israel. That's right. It says exactly, Mexican. Hallelujah, amen. And then it says, only way our only way out of this mess is to follow the one who knows the way. The more we complain like our ancestors did in Moses' time, we will be killed to the left. Yep, that's right. Give me a second. I'm going to cough. No, that's very true. So anyways, this is the book. Okay, let me go back to 105. Let me see. Hold up. 105. 105. Oh, wait, that's too far. All right, 105 should be here. Excuse me. Let's see. Let me drink some water. All right. So it says, con razón se debe preciar más este nombre México, de donde la salida de redención de tantas almas, donde tanto sea ensalzado el nombre de Cristo, nuestro Redentor y Mesías, porque como dice el RPF o Fran Martín del Castillo, en la explicación del acto capitular que tuvo en Toledo, empresa el año de 1657. México en hebreo, caldeo y sirio es lo mismo que de mi Mesías. México, hebraice, caldeice, and oh, he's basically saying it in his language. I'm always trying to read it. Okay, so you're saying that you guys are seeing it right there. So Mexico in Hebrew, in Chaldean, and Syrian all basically mean Messiah. And in Chaldean and Syria is basically Urdu, or they call it square script Hebrew now. They still speak it over there. Okay? All right, so then that's one. And then I have this other one here because he mentions this page. And look, Mexica equals Mexicanos. Mexica equals Mexicanos. And we saw up here how there was a name, several names, right? See? These right here, right? So now I'm going to show you the picture that I was trying to show you guys. And I kept slipping on it. Hold on. See? There it goes. Mexico. Mexico derives from the Aztec name of a great war god, Metzli. M-X-T-L-I. M-X-I-T-L-I. You see how similar it is? Mexicli. Mexicli. You see that? Or Mexli. The only difference is the I on this one. Okay? So that's what I was saying, brother. Yes, the name of Mexico is like Mexiaca. Mexiaca, Messia, right? Matter of fact, I have these here too. Watch. Yeah, my dog is enjoying that bone. Better that bone than all my wires that he's been chewing. Let's see. Hold on, guys. Let me go back. There it goes right here. Look. Oaxaca. That's a Hebrew word. Origin of the American Indian League, Huntington, page 88. Okay, you guys can get that book. It's not hard to find. It's on archive.org. Washakar, Washakar, Tiche, Washakar, wages or higher. Okay? Mexico or Mexica. In ancient Mexico, the new year began one lunar month before the spring equinox, the source of great migration from Fitzgerald. Second Chronicles is talking about Issachar. Anno, let me see that one. Carthage. Oh, that's that one I told you about, how they knew of our land. And I showed you all the links and everything. You see that? So you brothers that say, oh yeah, the slave trade happened to us. No, man, the Phoenicians were traveling everywhere. I already proved that in many classes. No offense, guys, but listen, we're trying to teach the truth. So if you guys are driven by color and that's how you believe because either the Messiah is white or the Messiah is black, then you're off. That should not matter when all you need to do is keep the commandments of God, and that's what's going to determine whether you're a Hebrew or not. Not if you got woolly hair, not if you got light skin or dark skin. No, is if you actually live by the laws and not just wearing fringes, not just letting your beard grow, not just dressing modest, no, actually examining yourself and growing so that you can be fruitful for your family. If you can be fruitful for your family and your family believes, if they came in late and you are a light of shine to them and you change, guess what? More likely you a Hebrew. But it can't just be on the exterior. You got to really, really, really want to make this because this is not fun. I'm telling you right now, this is not fun. Meshika, it says spoken. The word of Jesus in the original Aramaic, which is one of the older languages. They don't even speak Aramaic. Not many people speak Aramaic nowadays. Is a detailed biblical and historical account of the original message preached by Yeshua Meshika or Meshiaka. See? It says here on the bottom, to the ancient Nahua Aztecs people, Mexica pronounced Mexica, Yeshu Mexica. But the connotation to the word Mexican, unless you're over there, because I'm from Guadalajara, and you know, if you're born in Guadalajara, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you're born in Guadalajara, you're very proud. It's like if you're born in New York or like in Texas. Where are you from? I'm from New York. You don't say I'm from America. I'm from New York. I'm from Texas. In Guadalajara, the same thing. I'm sure you brother can agree. You're like, I'm from Guadalajara. Yeah, that's right. I'm from the main city, right by El Centro, by San Juan de Dios, maybe like 10 minutes. Corona Miravalle. That's where I'm from. That was where I was born. I come to this country. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm from what? Oh, I'm a what? I'm a wet bag? I'm a what? I'm a beaner? I don't even eat beans. I like rice. I'm a what? Yeah, man. They reminded me. You ain't. Shh. They reminded us. So that's what I mean by the connotation. Ain't no more favorable. And you know what? I don't want that. I know how beautiful our people are. I know. Do you guys know? I know. Now you need to know. You need to look in the mirror and examine yourself and say, listen, man, I got to really make a difference here because the Most High says I'm a Hebrew. And the standards for a Hebrew are well above and beyond what you are living now, right now. Even myself, I'm not even measured up to it. And I'm just scratching the surface. I'm only 5 years old. I'm a 5-year-old child. Basically, in this truth, you guys got to consider that. If you're literally living by the laws, statutes, and commandments, and you're doing the examination and all of that rigorousness, just calculate where you started. Sincere started. Like my marriage started when I came into the truth. I probably am well, I've been married for several years, 28. But my marriage is probably 2 years old because that's when it really, really started really becoming marriage. Sirach 23:1. O Lord, Father and Governor of all my whole life, lead me not to their counsel, and let me not fall by them. To who? Your mind, guys. I read this often because we need to know who will set scourges over my thought and the discipline of wisdom over my heart. Wisdom stops you from running into the wall, guys. Wisdom stops you from being cursed again. You see, wisdom I didn't have wisdom, and the Most High plagued me with the damn shingles, and that hurt. I lost sleep. Man, I couldn't rest. I'm telling you, you guys got to look it up. That pain was intense, man. Oh my God, I couldn't move my arm. It was horrible. Lest my ignorance increase and my sins abound my destruction. Why? Because he will punish you. And I fall before my adversaries. And my enemies rejoice over me, whose self is far from thy mercy. I spoke to a sister today. Everybody rejoices around her like, yeah, you're falling, not me. Well, guess what, sis? You got the Bible now. Let it go and let the Most High deal with it. You got to work on yourself. Watch this. I like this story a lot. This is awesome right here. This story, I don't know if you guys ever heard it, right? It's Proverbs 6:6. It says, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Watch this, okay? Which having no guide or overseer or ruler, provided her meat in the summer and gathered her food in the harvest. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways, be wise. A simple animal understands her position. A simple insect knows what her role is in this society. Y'all don't know. Which have no guide, no or overseer or ruler. We do. We got a guide. We got an overseer. We got a ruler. We got a Bible. We got the Spirit of the Most High. And we got a ruler, which would provide you the power of understanding. Provide her meat in the summer and gather her food in the harvest. That's just like, it's just mechanical. It's like clockwork for them. But for us, it's not. We're like the ants that when you move their line, they're scattered everywhere. We don't gather food. We don't prepare. We're not patient. We don't have no guide, no overseer, no ruler. We rule ourselves. We tell ourselves that we're doing great, and we're far from it. Please, come on. So then, what is it that we got to do, guys? We got to get back our heritage. I'm telling you, like when I went back to the beginning, remember Tobit, how we married our children properly, and we did the whole marriage thing, and I was just giving you guys an example of how beautiful that history was of ours. We, step by step, have to start getting that back, and it starts with y'all. Because look, if you keep the commandments of God, and I keep the commandments of God, you know that I won't steal from you, and you won't steal from me. You know that I won't lust over your wife, and you won't lust over mine. You know that if I owe you money, I'm going to pay you in time, and you will do the same. That's love. All right? But anyways, guys, I wanted to do a class. I was hoping not for it to go so long, but I guess it did. But all praises. I appreciate y'all being here with me. I got a song, and I think you guys are going to like it because, quite frankly, remember, the way they sing it is one thing, but it's a prophetic song, okay? So I don't think they'll take it off because it's not the video, but I'm going to let the words in there so you guys can see it. It's called Viva la Vida lyrics, all right? So family, shalom. I love y'all very much. Stay in the spirit, stay in the fight. I always suggest, hey, if you guys have any class suggestions, like any topics y'all want me to bring up, shoot them this way. Shoot them in my page. I'll see it. And if the spirit moves me, I'll do the class right, like I'll start preparing for it, okay? I'm here for y'all. This channel is your channel. It's not my channel. It's your channel. I need you guys. Believe me, I need you guys for me to stay sober. All right? Family, you take care. I love y'all. Here it goes. Never gonna let you down.
Rise when I gave the word. Now in the morning I sleep alone. Sweep the streets I used to own. I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes. Listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king is dead, long live the king. 1 minute I held the key, next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered that my castle stand upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my soul, and shield, missionaries in the foreign field. Oh, stories that I can't explain. Once you go, there was never an honest word. That was when I ruled the world. The wicked and wild wind blew down the doors to let me in. Shattered windows and the sound of drums. People couldn't believe what I'd become. Revolutionaries wait for my head on a silver plate, just a puppet on a lonely string. Oh, who would ever want to be king? I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in the foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know never St. Peter will call my name, never an honest word.
That was when I ruled the world. Dun, 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 dun.
Roman Catholic choirs are singing. Viva, viva my soul, Sheila. Missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name. Never alone this world, but that was when I ruled the world.